This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and guess what? Gareth Richards
Hello.
is with us this morning.
Good morning.
It could have been any jingle. I just had
Yeah.
I just went for one. Anyway, so text. You can text all three of us on 81215. You can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. It's all there.
Frank. Morning, Gareth.
Good morning.
Morning, Frank.
Morning, Emily.
Oh, I love that formality.
Okay.
We've just had a missive in. Do you remember last week we were talking about Drake's tattoos?
Oh yes, Drake has got Drake, the popular rap person, has got a series of celebrity tattoos. The Beatles, Diana Ross, was it?
Oh, I mean, some of them are rather strange choices. It's got Sade.
Oh yeah, Sade.
Sade?
Yes. Sade's on...
I've got an idea Sade might still be massive in America. You know this sort of parallel universes where people are still big.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still on telly in Japan.
Really?
Yeah.
He's got all sorts going on that body. So we were suggesting, or Frank was coming up with alternative tattoo suggestions. And one of the people you mentioned, Frank, you may recall, was Paul Coyer.
Yeah, I thought that would be...
Paul Coyer?
Yeah,
Yes.
Paul Coyer. Do you remember
familiar
him?
with his work?
No.
He was a Scottish TV presenter. He was Scottish and on TV, not necessarily.
Right.
And he was a sort of a good-looking young lad, always worn a lot of nice knitwear.
Okay.
And he just seemed someone you'd be surprised to find on Drake's tattoo menu.
Yes, and I like he has responded, Paul Coyer.
That's fantastic.
He's been alerted to this.
Not so Coyer, after all.
He could be a bit coyer.
Yeah, that's...
Someone called Adam on Twitter, Adam Lethbridge, alerted him to this, and Paul Coyer responded, I didn't know that, what an honour. Is Frank taking the... Jingle, please, Frank.
Is Frank
Frank taking the...
Hold on. Is Frank taking the...
And then you know what I like about Coyer? He ends with good on him, smiley face. No, I like that kind of man.
Yeah, he... I wasn't really, was it? I suppose I was picking him as a name that you don't hear so much now and be unlikely to find on. I would be surprised if Drake
So say all of us.
had a full awareness. But I'm very happy to hear from Paul Coyer. He was... what's the word when people's on telly too much? The word they always bring up.
Ubiquitous?
Ubiquitous, of course.
Lovely
Thank
word,
God
Gareth.
you're here. Cochrane had never got that in an hour.
An hour it would have taken him. 60 minutes.
That's a lot of dead air, isn't it?
It is. But, we're not frightened of dead air on this show. Don't worry about that. It was National Poetry Week this week.
Oh.
The day was on Thursday, National Poetry Day.
I don't think I heard a single poem.
Oh, well, you should have called me.
Oh.
So, I did, because my son, I've got a 7-year-old, if you're new to the show, and I know it's tedious when people talk about their kids, but there is a point to this. And he had to learn, for National Poetry Day, The Owl and the Pussycat.
Oh.
Right? It's a classic. I learnt it with him because I didn't know off by heart. It's really good to get poems off by heart. But there was... the second verse begins, Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl. And he, he's a big Queen fan.
Yes.
And he started over and over again going, Pussy said to the owl, Pussy said to the owl, dun, Pussy said to the owl, Pussy said, and I've been unable to get it out of my head all week. And then, of course, heard out of context, people can be slightly alarmed by it. But it just was it's so perfect. Pussy said to the owl. Pussy said to the owl. I thought maybe we could try Under
Okay.
Pressure with that as a
Yeah.
backing thing. What do you think? Do you know the
I'd
words
love
to Under
that,
Pressure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you do lead vocal, and maybe me and Emily can do Pussy said to the owl.
Okay. Well, hang on.
What?
Yeah, all right.
Go on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pussy said to the owl. Pussy said to the owl.
Under pressure.
Pussy said to the owl.
Pushing down
said
on
to
me.
the owl.
Pushing down
said
on
to
you.
the owl.
No matter what.
Pussy said to the owl. I think we get the picture. I don't like when
I thought you said I'm depressed, sir.
when Gareth says under pressure, he really sounds like he's under pressure. It's like it's a method singing.
I was under a lot of
sounds like-
pressure.
You were.
It sounds like-
It's the most under pressure anyone has ever sang. Under pressure.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Now, recently on the show, we've been talking about mistakes that turn out to be better than the originals.
Yes.
And there's been a few examples when something that I thought was in Rhinestone Cowboy isn't, but what I thought was definitely better.
Right.
Yeah.
And some of our readers have sent ones in. This week, while we were, me and my son were learning the owl and the pussycat, there's a bit they dined on mince
They did.
and slices of quince. Yeah. And he said they dined on mice and slices of... Now, it suddenly struck me that if you were preparing if you were doing the wedding catering for the unlikely combination
Yes.
of an owl and a pussycat, there's only really one main course that they're both very much associated with, and it's mice.
Yeah.
You'd go mice, wouldn't you?
Yes.
That would be...
You'd always go mice.
I mean, an owl and a pussycat, gotta go mice.
Don't rhyme with quince though, does it?
That's
Mice?
but they could have had
No.
slices of rice.
And
No,
some-
they didn't have
no,
sushi
good.
back then.
They dined on mice and a side order of rice.
Yeah, exactly. That would have been fine. That would have suggested that they'd travelled in the in the boat and been to places where they eat rice.
It's actually a wonderful poem. Most middle class thing I've ever said.
You know what? It's a lot better than I always thought. It was just a silly kid's poem. It's actually it's brilliant. I've grown to love. By the way, the mince that they dined on. Are we thinking mince as in what goes into a shepherd's pie, or mince as in what goes into a mince pie?
I'm thinking very much the sort of disgusting Victorian food.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because they were big fans of stuff like pigeon, mince.
So you think it'd be meat?
Oh, absolutely.
not that
what,
mince.
What do you think?
No,
It's
mince
extra
meat.
strong mince.
No, but mince pie.
Mincemeat
I
is
see.
what that's called, isn't it? It would be called mincemeat. I think
Well,
it would
anyway.
be mincemeat because that's...
You'll be mincemeat in a minute. Okay, so look, also,
Yes.
I went to the opening night of Orpheus and Eurydice, and blow me down if I didn't meet Jeremy Vine,
Jeremy Vine.
who spent,
Vine.
I would say, well, let's not exaggerate, he
Yeah.
put 4 minutes
Oh,
telling
yeah.
me how brilliant Emily was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
How brilliant, how brilliant.
Oh, Viney.
And at one point,
Viney.
he actually used the phrase, because I wrote this down on my phone, so
In
I didn't
anger.
forget it. Of this show, you're good on it as well. I have never. Wow.
Viney. Can I just say, can
Viney.
I use that for my biog?
What? You can't use that, can
I
you?
can. I can say Jeremy Vine or Frank Skinner. You're good on it as well.
Yeah, I didn't write down all this praise of you. I didn't make a note of that because there was too much. I didn't want to overload.
that's
I've only got
fine.
so many bites. But, oh
Did
man,
you take other opinions on a phone in while you were there?
Yeah, exactly.
He did.
I need to work on my Vine impression.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to find
you
impression.
think
I would have
so?
thought. Yeah.
Oh no, I think it would be quite easy.
I'm happy to hear your work in
Have a go.
progress.
Have a go.
Oh
We
no!
could-
a go.
Don't throw me the
I had to s-
hospitale.
I had to sing under pressure,
Yeah, you did.
under a lot of pressure.
You did.
I know, but there's a lot of I've already got quite a lot in the bank now. It seems with Vine.
Right, yeah, you don't want to
I don't want to suddenly go into an overdraft
what do you
within minutes.
What do you think about this?
Okay.
Sherry Blair was also at this do.
My Sherry Moore.
And this guy came over to her. I just said hello to Sherry Blair, and then this guy came over and said, "Oh, Sherry, he said there's something I have. Please let me introduce myself," is what he said. "Please let me introduce yourself. Your son." Oh. And I said, "You're her son." And you have to introduce yourself. And they didn't quite get it. Oh. And he went on and he said, "I'm working with your son." I said, No. But what you said was, and it was really, they were looking at me like I was some madman. I was saying, "But you said, I really want to introduce myself, your son." And they were saying, Anyway, and it was, and oh dear, and I just wanted them to get it.
Sometimes people don't like the comedy in real life.
No, they don't know it.
This
they
is
don't
good.
get
Make
it.
him feel better about it.
But this guy was Jonathan Miller's son. You think he'd have got a bit of comedy?
Yeah.
But they see.
I think you once said something about Jonathan Miller wearing jeans and how you didn't like it.
Yeah, that's.
So maybe he's heard that. You see, the gittishness will come back.
And he had Jonathan Miller's jeans.
Well, it reminds me. That is very good.
Excellent work.
Very good. But it did remind me. I tried living by the samurai code for a few months.
Buckle up, everyone.
And one of the things.
Hold on a minute. You lived by the samurai code for a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
You know that pub in Acton. No, I did. I lived alone, and I tried to live. It's not about thoughts and stuff. It's a philosophical.
Do you know what that is, Gav?
No.
Oh, Frank
It's
will
called
explain.
Way of the Samurai.
Right.
Anyway, one of the things it says is that when a sparrow.
Now you're on the way of the Nazarene.
Yeah. I'm still doing that. But it says the sparrowhawk, when he goes into a bunch of sparrows. I don't know the collective noun for sparrows. Anyone?
Oh, well, it would be a flock. Oh, no.
Collective noun for sparrows, 8, 12, 15. When he goes into it, he decides which sparrow he's going for. And even if another sparrow flies right to him and is easy to get, he ignores that and he sticks on the one that he's always going for from the beginning.
Right.
And it's a sort of it's how to achieve things in life. And that's what this guy was doing with Sherry Blair. I think she was the sparrow and I flew in the way and he just brushed me to one side. Oh. So there was lessons to be learnt from all of it. Yeah. Good night.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Where was I?
We've had a message from Tony in Hampshire, Frank.
Oh, and he's saying, "Stop talking about my wife."
Good morning, Frank. My son was... Oh, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
My son was a guest at the Coliseum Theatre on Tuesday night, and he went out of his way to call you out as one of the celebrities that he's... I think call you out might be the wrong choice of words.
No, we didn't fight.
No, you weren't challenged in any way, were you, on the evening?
It means I was identified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To call you out as one of the celebrities that he saw while he was there. He also mentioned Sherry Blair and Holly Willoughby, but no mention of Jeremy Vine.
Oh,
Showbiz. Oh, no.
Can I just do point of order?
He listens, Jeremy Vine. You've broken his heart.
Hi, Viney.
Sorry, Jeremy.
Can I just say, point of order, Cherie, boys. There's a lot of sherry going along here.
Yeah, well, that's how I always started my mornings, of course, for many years. Sherry Blair.
This is what makes it worth coming to work.
Yeah, well, that's why Sherry did.
It's not on the stop.
Can I finish this text?
You're right.
We should just establish occasionally, Gareth. That's not the word for it, Frank. He loses it, doesn't he? Would you say he does it every show? Or
no, not every show.
Not every how often he used to do it.
Well, I'm not...
Do you remember there was a classic time when he lost it?
Can you imagine the cockerel losing it like this?
I know, but don't compare the partners.
No, but that... I mean, I don't know if that's a plus or a minus, because, I mean, he's like the Sphinx, Alan. Anyway, carry on.
Pretty stoic. But as we went into this link, Frank said, "So, any text from the outside world?" And I panicked under pressure again. So I thought, this
Pussy said to the owl.
Pussy said to the owl. Pussy said to the owl.
Pussy said to the owl.
No, that's the other one.
Yeah, no, it's the same.
I know. It's a sample.
I've sampled the Pussy Said to the Owl beat.
I know.
Yeah.
For that. For the,
Let's not collaborate and listen.
And also, it's a bit more like the
Ice is
wedding,
back with
the
a brand new
wedding meal.
invention.
'Cause
Something grabs hold of me tightly.
Someone's calling for ice at the meal because the quince is a bit. I wouldn't say it was off, it's on the turn.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, carry on.
What about when I had dinner with Edward Lear? Anyway, ring the reach a thing. I didn't really. He died in 1888, but you could go and take your children to. It was afternoon tea with cucumber sandwiches. They might still do it, Frank. It's lovely.
Well, I
It was
thought.
an old actor dressed up as Edward Lear, and my parents dropped us off with him.
Lovely. You wouldn't do it now. I saw a little excerpt from a one-man show. You know, when you go to Edinburgh, people do excerpts from their shows and things so that you'll go and see the whole show.
Oh, yes.
And he was playing Hans Christian Andersen.
Lovely.
And he said, now I shall be playing the part of Hans Christian Andersen. He said, I'm playing Hans Christian Andersen because people often tell me that I look like him. Right. And I imagine, does this bloke get on the bus and people at the back are going, that's not Hans Christian Andersen. I mean, who knows what Hans Christian Andersen looks like? Such lies. Absolute
This is where Frank's mind goes. Lies. Actual lies, Gareth.
Yeah.
You call him out.
Algernon, you've got to play. You've got to play Hans Christian Andersen, man. You were born. But do you really think so? Oh, but you look just like him. Nobody ever said that to him.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Gareth, I interrupted you, Gareth.
I've got to finish this text.
Go on.
We're halfway through a text.
Sorry.
So, this is person saying that their son was at the Colosseum Theatre seeing that play you said about.
It wasn't a play, it was an opera. Orpheus and Eurydice.
Oh.
And,
do you know that?
It's a bit of a horrible insult.
Do you know the story of Orpheus and Eurydice?
Oh, yes.
Of course, but I'll let you tell it.
Just briefly.
He was an underworld type.
Just briefly, she died. The girlfriend dies,
right?
And he gets told that if he can go down and get her from the netherworld,
right?
But when he brings her back, he mustn't look in her eyes. That's the story. Whatever happens, don't look. And of course, he's madly in love with her, and he goes and he finds her. Yeah. And she has to walk behind him, but he's not allowed to tell her why.
2019.
And she gets really
He's not allowed to tell him why. He's not allowed to tell her why.
No.
There's a lot of rules.
Yeah, so
controlling Orpheus,
it's bringing someone back from the dead. You know,
it's still, mate. Come on.
But anyway, the point is that because he's so in love with her, in the end, she's saying, "Well, I don't understand why you're not looking at me." You know what they're like.
Yeah.
Sorry. And in
New
the end,
Faces, 1972.
in the end, he turns around and looks at her. So of course she dies and has to go back to the netherworld. And it really reminded me. Do you remember that?
That's a shame.
There was a famous experiment where they sit a kid in a room with a biscuit. And they say, I'm going away now for 5 minutes. If you don't eat that biscuit, when we come back, you can have 2 biscuits. And a lot of kids, the kids who eat that one biscuit can't wait 5 minutes, like Orpheus just couldn't wait till he got to the end of the tunnel, the idiot. But apparently they found out the kids who can wait for the 2 biscuits tend to do really well in life. Because the old deferred gratification, they're happy to study for 3 years knowing there'll be a degree at the end of it. So there you go.
I would say, if I may, that is possibly one of your superpowers, is the delayed gratification.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks very much.
So if you, I'm just saying.
And that's why the punchline to this story will be in 2 hours' time. Sorry, Gareth. Keep going.
Speaking of delayed gratification.
Deferred.
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 Not delayed. I do apologise.
So already this opening night was full of celebrities, but this Tony in Hampshire, the suspiciously named Tony in
There was
Hampshire.
some incredible. Can I just say there wasn't some. Ben Kingsley was there, par example.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's a lovely little actor.
I'm sorry,
It is.
guys, but this Tony in Hampshire has a boast to be all of that.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Not Paul Collier.
He says, my son was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're giving him tone, aren't you?
My son, well, he says, it's the second time he says, my son was a guest at the Coliseum Theatre on Tuesday night as well. And then he says, my son was there as a guest of the theatre, as he is the designer Luke Edward Hall. And he was responsible for designing the artwork for the safety curtain at the Coliseum.
Ah.
Wow.
Great show, Tony in Hampshire.
See, you're not impressed by that. I am.
Was it
I
good?
am quite
Yeah.
impressed.
Yeah.
The
that's-
safety curtain.
Oh, I
good.
wish you'd come
Love a
up.
safety curtain.
I wish you'd come up and said hello now. You don't meet many safety curtain artists.
Also,
do
in a
not.
modern theatre, you don't often get the
Luke
safety.
Edward
It's
Hall.
all trendy. You just get all sort of smoke, fade to black. I like an old red safety curtain.
Yeah, and that mixture of art, which is all about expression and freedom, combined with security, it is a fabulous juxtaposition. Well, the next time was it Toby? Did you say
Tony
Tony?
from Hampshire.
No, his
and
son.
his son is Luke Edward Hall.
Can I
Okay,
just say,
the
Frank,
designer.
I like.
Well, I hope the next time I'm there, which is quite soon, that he'll come over and say hello, and we can talk. We can talk fire.
Freedom of creative self-expression combined with security. I like that because that could be Charles Bronson's Twitter bio. I like to think he likes to express himself.
You mean Charles Bronson, the prisoner, or
Yes, of
Yeah, okay.
course, the prisoner.
Well, it could have been the actor. Has he been superseded now by someone who named themselves after him?
Yes.
It's the same as Jane Seymour. It's so wrong.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So I did a gig at Scarborough this week, and then the next day I went to Whitby Abbey, which is, do you know Whitby Abbey?
I'm not that familiar with that abbey.
Yeah, it's
So where the Synod of Whitby happened.
exactly. It's exactly where it happened.
I love it when
know
you
about
two
that
start
stuff.
talking abbeys.
Well, I mean, it was a Synod of Whitby that drew me in, I've got to say. But anyway,
Can I just say something? I apologise for my ignorance. I don't know what a synod is.
a synod is a gathering of religious leaders, usually to decide some sort of. At the
Nothing
time,
to do with Leonard Skinner. I know
no,
that.
there was two enormous debates: was whether how monks should have their hair, and what was the date of Easter. Those were the two biggies.
Can I just say how monks should have their hair? I'd have a lot to say on.
I'm sure it's a pity you weren't at the synod of
I mean,
Whitby.
that's my kind of synod.
Yeah.
Back to you, Frank, in the studio.
Okay, thanks a lot, Emily. So I'm here at Whitby, and it's a little bit windy. I'll be straight with you. We'll soldier on. Yes, Whitby Abbey. So
The synod.
it's also that where Dracula first lands in England in the book.
Oh,
So
Right.
he lands. The ship. There's like a shipwreck thing, and he's come over in a coffin full of soil, kind of thing. You know, Dracula, what he's like.
why didn't he
Taking
fly?
our coffins.
He should have flown on her, but it was.
Does he fly, Dracula?
Oh yeah, he can fly as well.
I never knew that.
In the book, he can turn into different creatures. So
Shut up.
So a bat is one of them, I
I
think.
thought he just had the fangs. I thought that was his thing. He bit you.
But when he lands at Whitby, he jumps ashore as a big black dog. That's his current term. I think he might be witness protection. Anyway, I met a bunch of guys at Whitby Abbey who'd all been to my gig the night
Bunch
before.
of guys.
5 guys.
A
What were they
gang.
called?
5 guys. None of them were named Mo.
Yeah.
And they'd been to the gig the
Right.
night before. So they come and said, we enjoyed your gig last night. I said, thanks very much. And they said, we were talking about what was our favourite joke from the gig. So they then each told me their favourite joke.
So wait, 5 guys are at Whitby Abbey,
Yeah.
and they Did you plan to meet them there?
No,
they just happened to be.
They just happened to be there.
Oh, your audience have changed.
I know, exactly. But then one of them said, "I'll be honest with you. One of the jokes you did last night," he said, "I haven't even told these guys that. I didn't get it."
Oh.
And he said, "Could you explain it to me?" So I explained this joke to him, sitting in the cafe at Whitby Abbey.
Had he gone to the church for a solution to that question? Was he going to pray about it?
And then he said, "Oh, I get it." And I mentally added that laugh to the laugh I'd got the night before. But it's a very weird thing. It was like some debriefing I'd arranged with the guys. But it could have been a lot worse. Of course, they could have hated it.
I like that they're now referred to as the guys.
Yeah.
They're his crew now.
I was down the Abbey hanging with some guys, and
but there was another thing.
Leonard Synod guys.
There's another thing. There's another thing I'd like to discuss with you that happened at the Abbey, but we'll do it after this.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner, who, let's face it, does not smell like Teen Spirit. This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Gareth Richards is with us this morning. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. I think I was at Whitby Abbey.
yes.
So I was taught there's a church at the Abbey, and I was taught in a graveyard and stuff. And
I know, but I'm sorry to interrupt, Frank, but Rich and Joe have got in touch regarding... we're currently serving breakfast at our Whitby B&B, listening to your good selves, and we can see the Abbey from the dining room window. Do you need real-time footage?
I'd love to see real-time footage.
Okay.
How nice to be able to see the Abbey from you. Anyway, so I was talking to the woman who worked at the church there doing on the shop and stuff, and she said, we get a lot of goths.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't be exactly. They all go up for there's a big goth festival. In fact, she was telling me they had a goth festival that included cyberpunk. And now there were so many people, they've had to split the two into two separate festivals.
Right.
Can you believe
that's the Synod of Whitby all over again.
Exactly.
Shattering into fractions.
Oh, no, that was more of a unifying
Factions.
thing. Synod of
Oh, was
Whitby.
it?
Yeah, that's the moment when the
Brought
Catholic
people together.
Church got a good, solid grip on the British Isles.
The good
Anyway.
old days, as far as you're concerned.
Exactly. And she said, we get a lot of people coming here and asking me where Dracula is buried.
Oh, because of the Dracula connection.
Yeah.
I just thought because it was a Gothic cathedral.
No,
I
because
thought he just had a lot of family in the area.
because he landed at Whitby in the book.
Oh.
And she said...
And you said he travelled in a coffin full of earth.
Yes.
Shall I fly or shall I take the coffin full of earth?
Anyway, so she said, I'm fed up with the people asking us about... She said, so we've had to put a sign up on the door saying that Dracula is fictional. I love... That's breaking people's hearts, isn't it? They're not even being told. Just read this sign. Oh! And she said, we had one guy who just would not have it. She said, I had an argument with my husband, and he said, oh, well, if you might as well...
Gary Oldman.
And he said, you might as well, if you're going to say Dracula doesn't exist, you might as well say Captain Cook didn't exist. She said at that point, my husband was so angry he had to walk away.
I like the idea of Baker Street. And there's a massive sign at 221B saying this character is fictional.
Yeah, well, I'm glad Whitby isn't in charge of Christmas.
I said that to a driver though once. He was talking about Baker Street, and he said something about Sherlock Holmes. And he said something like, it's changed a bit since Sherlock Holmes was around here. And I said, yeah, blah, blah. And he said something else, and I thought, hold on. I said, you know Sherlock Holmes is like, wasn't real.
That?
He said, what? I said, yeah, he's just in a book. He said, no, I've dropped people at his house. I said, yeah.
Do you think he still lives there?
Yeah, but it was... If a goth came looking, I don't know if I could tell a goth face to face that there is no drug.
Well, that's their Santa Claus, absolutely. It's cruel.
There was Vlad the Impaler, of course, who he was based on, but you can't based on, doesn't count. And then there was Vlad the Impala, who I think David Attenborough did a documentary about. But he was very different, you know. So there's no equivocation at Whitby. I'm afraid, fictional character, that's where they've left it. If anyone's got any further information on his existence...
I might go and visit Whitby. I like the sound of it.
Yeah, well, we went on to Durham Cathedral, which is gobsmacking. To be at the tomb of the Venerable Bede. I actually had a bead of tear in my eye.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Gareth's here this morning. Gareth, what's happening?
Oh, well, we have been looking around schools for our oldest child, Ethan.
Yeah.
I'll say his name because I've said it loads of times.
Yeah.
It's too late now. Yeah, he's going to secondary school, can you believe it?
The big schools.
Big school.
Oh, is that what it's called? Lovely.
Yeah, so we have to
Are
look...
they 11 when they go to big school?
Yeah.
Okay.
11, we have to look round the schools, decide which one we want him to go to. Mm-hmm. And it's quite bizarre going around schools. Like, because I remember school from when I went.
Well, you would. I think for most of us that's our main connection.
But now, you see, I'm looking around a school for my son to go to.
Yeah.
And it's a real wake-up call about what level of life you're at. And teachers are ever so young now, you know.
Oh, God, what's going on?
I know. There was a young girl in there in the drama studio. Oh, why aren't you in uniform?
Yeah.
And she was...
Yeah, but you always say it. I've told you before not to say that to them.
It's like me and those policemen.
Yeah, exactly.
She was...
But what's your criterion?
Yeah.
Well, when I was at school, teachers were ever so old. Much older than me.
Can I just say, you say
yes.
that? Frank Skinner can top us all, though, because he knows someone.
He's the most senior member of staff.
No.
What?
Your family school anecdote, please, Frank Skinner.
Family school anecdote?
Related, I believe it was your grandmother.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, my grandmother said when she was at school that one morning they were all called into the hall, so they all sat down, and the headmistress got on stage and said, "I'm sorry, it's terrible news, children. Queen Victoria has died." Now that does date it a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to Gareth in the studio.
I think we had arges missing when I was at school. I know that was on this show. Yeah, carry on.
So teachers are very young now.
Yes.
It's really changed. And Laura embarrassed me in front of the music teacher.
God.
She
said,
didn't get you to sing Under Pressure.
Well, he was talking about we put on shows here. It's ever so good. All the kids get involved. And then Laura says... "Oh, my husband's a comedian. He does shows all the time."
Oh, well, like the proud mother.
Yeah,
oh, no.
like exactly like
Like she was looking for a
would.
school. You sure she's not secretly looking for a school for you?
Yeah, it didn't take the first time. The old education.
So, are you now lined up to be their
You're going to have
artistic director?
And
you're like Mr. G.
I suppose what was encouraging is afterwards I was like, why did you do that? That's exactly what my mum would do. And she said, "Yeah, I know. I don't know why I did that."
Oh,
That was
wow.
it. It's just she was just clutching for something to say. Anyway, and we had to go into the big hall for the big talk from the headmaster, which was he was in a sort of like quite tense situation all of a sudden. You know, being in the school assembly again.
Yeah.
And while we were waiting for it to start, we looked at the GCSE grades from this school. Now in Bournemouth, there's a...
You hadn't looked at that before?
No, there's an 11 plus system.
Okay.
So like all the clever
it's
kids
a grammar school.
go to grammar school.
Oh, okay.
And so this school was clearly the leftover kids, and their GCSE grades were not good. Properly zeros for all the top things. So I was thinking, oh, what's this going to... And then I saw the head girl and head boy were doing speeches. So I was like, oh, what's this going to be like? What's the head... And the head girl did her speech. And...
I'm tense. I don't know about you, Em.
Yeah.
I felt absolutely sick.
At one point she said, and I really want to do well in my exams because afterwards I would like to become a teacher. And I don't want to make fun of people for for expressing themselves eloquently or a bit.
No, I'm guessing this reminds me slightly, Gareth, of when I believe it was Nancy D'Olio was asked what she did, and she said, "I lawyer."
Yes.
I think it's maybe in that ballpark.
Yeah,
but I kind of like that. It's sort of slightly poetic.
So I'm Spartacus.
I am. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Like I Am Woman, I think was that. Song once.
Helen Reddy, was it? Still, I don't know if I'd want someone representing me who said I lawyer, but sorry, back to Gareth in the studio.
I used to hang around with Tarzan quite a lot, so I'm used to it.
He just wanted me, Frank.
Yeah. Me, Tarzan, you, Frank. I was happy with that. But, a few people...
So the jury's out.
We're in this tense situation, but do we need to play a song?
We need to get the fez out.
I think I need to play a song and also give you a stern talking to. Mainly about someone sitting at home in tears listening to this. And that laugh says why I have to give you a talking to.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
So I was saying about I was having the speech from the headmaster and the head girl of the school for Ethan. And can I say, by the way, public speaking is very difficult. We've all had slips of the tongue.
I've seen your act.
We've all had slips of the tongue and said something not quite right.
Well, I had one earlier on the show.
What did you say?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I don't want to repeat it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
Alan said Descartes.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
I love Descartes.
What did I call the dog, Frank? Weimaraner. I said Weimaraner.
Yeah, Weimaraner. I kind of like that. That did sound the title of a poem.
Yeah.
Weimaraner, does thy ship stand idle in the dark bay? Anyway.
Go home, Coleridge.
But can I say, and it doesn't come from a very good place in our humanity, but people getting things wrong is funny. Especially when you're under pressure or in a serious situation when...
Under pressure?
No.
When...
Now go on.
When, there's... You're under, you've got to behave yourself.
Spit it out.
So I lean over to Laura. This was the mistake I made. I leant over to Laura and I said, I believe if she studies really hard, one day she could become a teacher.
Right.
As a little joke between us.
Right.
That set me off giggling.
Oh, no.
When you lose it.
Yeah. In a full assembly room, complete silence. And I haven't lost it like this for years.
Oh, no.
Where I had to do something to... I obviously couldn't
Last
just
time
laugh.
was my family's funeral.
Laugh out loud. So what I did is I tried to hold it in by bending over and just... But I was physically shaking.
That's down. I think that might be down.
Yeah.
Can we just say for readers who aren't outside the window and can't see?
Right.
Gareth was sort of assuming, I would call it the Rodin thinker pose.
Yeah, but slightly fetal. But every orifice is closed tight to not let the sound out.
Yeah.
Every muscle.
Even then, he's slightly empurpled. I mean, on the day, he must have been puce.
Yeah. And Ethan's looking at me going, and I'm like, I want to say, I'm so sorry this is happening.
I mean, it's a school assembly hall tradition.
Yeah, the giggles.
After holding you actually had the giggles.
The giggles. There needs to be some public procedure for getting the giggles because it's nothing personal to anyone.
Well.
It's an involuntary, it can't be helped. It's a disease.
Okay. It's about
Okay,
time you
okay.
established it as an issue, and then you'd be all right.
The giggles, we need more public awareness of the giggles
As a giggle.
I think
as
you're
an
right.
issue that
Yeah.
people... And Ethan thought I was crying.
Okay.
So Ethan got quite upset.
Yeah.
His eyes filled with tears
I
because he
thought you were
thought
gonna, he doesn't
I'd been
take after
overcome.
his he doesn't take after his dad. Otherwise, Ethan thought I was crying, so then he got the giggles.
Can I
No,
just
he's
say,
an
I've got a
empathic,
wonderful
human being.
I've got a wonderful therapist in about 10 years if you need the number.
Okay, for Ethan.
Yeah.
Yeah, my ship has sailed. It's
Yeah.
too late for my
Yeah,
therapy.
too late for you, dear.
Yeah.
Why, Mariner?
Oh, it's brutal. I mean, Laura was livid with me. Can
No,
you
I bet.
imagine?
Well, see, I think that makes the giggles worse. When you know
Oh.
the wronger the giggles, the longer the giggles. That's my motto.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good. I mean, that is a good
Frank, the
strapline
law-
for our campaign to get the
Can I
awareness
just
of
say,
giggles
Frank
out.
and I were
Because
afflicted.
people are judged for giggling in the wrong situation.
Yes.
But the wronger the giggles, the longer the giggles.
Yeah.
It's not a character thing. It doesn't mean you don't
Frank-
know how wrong it is. It means you do know how wrong it is.
Yes, yes.
Frank
Sorry to
and
speak
I-
over you,
I
Emily.
know, you're very impassioned, I
It's
understand.
very important.
It's actually, my ears are bleeding.
Frank and I we were afflicted by the giggles on a train.
Oh,
Not
yeah,
that long
that's
ago.
true.
When I mean, there's no way to dress this up. We were laughing at some other inhabitants of the carriage.
Well, what they looked very like. It hadn't occurred to me, but a woman got on, a very bossy old woman who
How dare you.
told her husband where to sit, and there was like a long-suffering son.
Who would have been
sat
in
there.
his 40s, maybe?
Yeah, and I just thought, I mean, she's going on a bit. And then Emily I think you were in the seat in front of me.
And
or
I
so.
had to
So she
communicate by
texted-
text.
She texted me a picture of the cast of, remember that Sorry, the sitcom with Ronnie Corbett, and it was so perfect. And I almost never get the giggles ever. But oh man, it was a killer blow because they were there, the picture was there.
Frank started laughing so loudly that I had to say, Frank then did a thing going, I'm just looking at this brilliant West Brom picture I've been sent.
I know, yeah, I did it.
Yeah, you have to
Well,
try and...
I didn't want them to think I was laughing at them. Which one always worries about that when one is laughing?
And one has the giggles.
Yeah, no, that was. But I mean, Gareth he made it himself. You inflicted the giggles on me. That was torturing a friend in a tight situation, which I do most Thursdays. If anyone's interested.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
I like, Gareth, you've been talking about getting the giggles. Chloe Simmons has been in touch. I got the giggles during our wedding vows. My husband wasn't best pleased.
No.
And on the wedding video, you can hear one of his relatives shout out, "Somebody slap her. I suffer from nervous giggles." That's Chloe from Tunbridge Wells.
Can I say this is exactly the sort of situation we need to address?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The wronger the giggles, the longer the giggles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Let's
Okay.
have some sympathy and empathy for other human beings afflicted by the giggles.
Well, I knew a bloke that if you told him about any sort of someone had died or something like that, he always started laughing. And the thing is,
Or smile.
once he'd become aware of it, of course, it became an even bigger deal. Anyway, if there's any people listening who suffer with the giggles, I'm on tour at the moment. I'd love you to come to my house.
And I will be chatting with David Baddiel next week, Frank.
Will you?
Yes. Am
About
I allowed
what?
to mention that, please?
Oh, yes.
It's at the Cheltenham Festival, literary festival.
Oh, very
And
nice.
Frank's mother-in-law is coming, I've heard. It's next Thursday. Please come and see us.
Okay.
Thank you.
What connection did that have to anything?
I was talking about the giggles.
Well, I mentioned the tour.
Is it going to
Yeah.
be funny?
I hope so.
Yeah. I
That'll
see.
be funny. Well, giggles.
Giggles, yes. And you mentioned a gig you were doing.
Yeah, it all makes sense. God, Gareth's come in now questioning the very
Yeah.
fabric of this show. What else you been up to?
We've got a bit of an issue with spiders.
Oh, no.
I believe October is the month of spiders.
Is it really? I don't mind a spider.
Oh,
Can I confess something?
Go on.
I just kill them.
Yeah.
There was a time when I was really committed to catching them.
There goes our Buddhist audience.
And we've already lost the school children
Yeah.
and the teachers.
Yeah.
There was a time when I would capture them and then run down the street with them so they couldn't find their way back.
Okay.
But
With the old glass and beer mat type of
that affair. But I'm sorry, but they've overstepped the mark. In at the end of our garden, we've got a gateway. Every time I go through that gateway, they have built a new web there
Yeah.
to try and catch me.
Do you do that thing? You know when you walk around
I hate
in the
your
garden,
web.
you get that on your face. You can feel
Yeah.
it on your neck and stuff.
Do you know, I really
Flailing.
feel, I can't bear it. I just feel it's a real invasion. And sometimes I leave them hanging.
What, on your face?
No, but you know when you semi-break the web and you think, yeah, you hang there for a bit, mate.
Didn't Kim Kardashian semi-break the web?
Oh, excellent.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text from 369. Morning all. My friend...
369, the goose drank wine, the monkey put
You
the
tobacco on the street
Ice,
card
ice
line.
baby.
pussy said to the owl.
Under pressure.
Carry on.
My friend WhatsApped me last week to go round to her house to get rid of a spider.
That's what her friend's called WhatsApp.
I did as well.
My friend, WhatsApp.
I thought it was Sherlock Holmes
Oh,
and their friend WhatsApp. Carry on.
I think there'll be a generation of children who are called things like WhatsApp.
Do you think so?
Little WhatsApp.
Imagine calling
That's how we
it
met.
Twitter. Imagine calling the child Twitter.
That's how I
Yeah.
met your mother.
I don't like that one much.
No, I don't.
So someone got WhatsApp to go round to her house to get rid of a spider. She was in on her own. It was the tiniest spider under a Tupperware dish. I put it in the garden. Kiss, Maxine.
See,
Nice
didn't
story.
kill it.
We
No.
also...
But the thing is, they're after me, and even though they're way
He's
out
off
of,
again.
they're way out of my league, they're way out of their league. They're overreaching because they're not
Yeah.
going to catch me in the web. They only manage a couple of strands a day.
No, but I always
But
think
it's the thought.
they could swing some eggs into your earwax and let
Oh.
them grow there.
Oh, that's one of those urban myths.
Oh my gosh!
Frank, Anne Ord from Brightlingsea has been in touch, one of our Brightlingsea correspondents.
Anne Ord.
Yes.
How do you spell that?
O-R-D.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My daughter, brackets 12, close brackets, walked through a spider web one morning on her way down the garden path to the car. She had a huge spider caught in her hair and totally freaked out.
Yeah.
Now, every time we walk down the path, we have to wield a garden cane in front of us, a bit like Harry Potter with an oversized wand.
The
God
garden
knows
cane.
what the neighbours think. I understand that. I've been known to wield blunt instruments. Have you never done that? I've got broom
What, at a
handles.
web?
I've gone out in my concrete patch area where there is some foliage, and I wheeled the broom around just to make sure I've destroyed
do.
any property. I see it like a sort of wrecking ball. It's a demolition job.
Oh, well, you see,
Of the
I
webs.
was an international limbo dancer, so it's not really a problem for me. I just
Right.
go on.
Do you mind a spider?
Do you know what my stage name was when I was a limbo dancer?
Oh, here we
not?
go.
Gary Barlow.
Very good.
With the spider, and I'd be very difficult to put a figure on this, but I see spider, fine, little bit bigger, fine, little bit bigger than that, fine, little bit bigger than that, no.
Yeah.
But I don't know quite where it is. But there is a point where I just think, no, I don't like this one. This one's pushing it with its dimensions.
Yeah, they're growing too big.
Obviously, I wake up often encrusted in money spiders.
I don't like... Absolutely obnoxious. Frank, I don't like it when they look a bit... There's been an accident at the nuclear reactor plant. Those are the spiders...
Well, of course, I still dream of Spidey sense. But it'll be that spider that turns me into a superhero. But I was in Africa once. I like it when people call it Africa, like it's a small town somewhere in the Cotswolds.
Yeah.
You know, they're going, hey, down in Africa. You think, what's the big area you're talking about? Anyway.
Yeah.
And when I woke up in the morning, I walked to. We were in rudimentary, disused army barracks in Burkina Faso, and when I woke up, there was a spider. I don't know how I'd describe the diet, but saucer-sized spider. If you was to stretch its legs out, stuck to one of my buttocks. And it must have been in bed, and I'd rolled over on the night, squashed it, and it was still stuck to my, and it was there. My buttock looked a bit like Janet Jackson's breast during the Super Bowl half-time
The
show.
wardrobe malfunction.
I do not like this story.
Well, it was a happy story.
It's not like it.
Really upsetting
It's
things.
a happy story in that I dealt with the spider, but in my sleep, so I don't feel any guilt about its destruction.
I don't like a squash spider leg. The knees look so tragic.
The spider's knees are just wrong.
I mean,
Do they need knees?
I say that. They're my inspiration.
Oh, well, okay.
But still.
Yeah, so that's the way.
You want quite a big, hairy body and
I
very
do.
spindly limbs.
Yeah.
Well,
what I
that
want
is
is
that is
a torso like a grape. Torso like a grape. Oh.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean, and Gareth Richards is here. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute website. I got slightly like I was drowning in the middle of that awful experience.
So, I've heard talk, boys, which I'd like to discuss with you. Well, I say I've heard talk. I read it in an online story. There's a new film version of Oliver Twist in the works.
Oh.
Let's face it, there haven't been nearly enough adaptations of that over the years. That's very much his Three Lions, Frank, would you
Also,
say?
there was a new...
Dickens?
Dickens. Well, there's a new David Copperfield out this week as well.
Oh, yes, Amanda Iannucci.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
yeah.
Funny one.
Remember her? Dickens still big business.
I know, but not his best-selling novel, though.
Oh, really?
What was his best-selling
I
novel?
believe it was Tale of Two Cities.
Was it
I believe that's the best-selling novel of all time. Sorry about that, Frank. Yours did well, though.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't write a novel, so...
No, best-selling book of all time, I believe.
Okay.
Might be novel rather than...
What? Tale of Two Cities?
I believe so.
It was
Because of the sheer... Or people didn't... that was all they had then.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you
well,
go.
I can't believe that's the best set. Well, someone will know.
Someone or no, I may have got
8,
that
12,
wrong.
15.
Apologies if I have. I stand corrected.
Are we saying book or novel?
I'm going to say novel.
Okay,
I
fair
don't
enough.
think it's book, because that's got to be your lot, hasn't it?
Well, I'm hoping it's my lot, but you never know.
Sorry,
times
Gareth, can we
change.
explain what I mean by your lot?
The Bible.
I've seen that.
Oh, I see, yes.
When I see the family Bible with the rose she saved inside, it was crushed between the pages like it found a place to hide.
Okay.
Do you know, when you did that impression, the producer, she looked over at you and there was a little smile, I'm going to say played on her lips.
It actually played.
A bit
I love it when a
approvingly,
smile
and a bit,
does that.
I'm seeing him in a new light.
Oh, okay.
That would be the moment in the rom-com when the heroine would revise her opinion of the difficult man.
Yeah, but the trouble is with this rom-com, because there's an age difference of about 40, it's a sort of if Woody Allen wrote another rom-com. So let's not even think about it. So anyway, new Oliver
Sorry.
Twist.
So-
Now I've
Twist.
I saw the headline for this, and they're on the verge of casting the Dodger. No, casting the Dodger
Yeah.
sounds like a euphemism. But I mean,
Who
actually
are the
casting.
runners and riders, Frank?
Well, number one, would you believe it? Number one in the frame, didn't see this coming. Who would you go for? Before we go to Dave. I've always
The Artful
fancied.
Dodger.
Yeah,
It's
the
got to be a young boy, young man.
Can I come up with a suggestion? I would say Arge
Daniel Radcliffe.
from Only
Arge?
Wears Essex.
Oh yeah.
He's got the Cockney accent. Can't
Joey
see
Essex.
yourself.
Look, you know.
Joey Essex can be one of the other orphans.
But can you imagine that, someone's thinking we've got to go really different on this,
Yeah.
and the door opens, Joe Swash. We've gone straight in Route 1 Artful Dodger, because he sort of is the Artful Dodger in many ways. But I was thinking, because I've always quite sort of fancied myself, I thought
Rylan.
We all know that.
I know that.
Rylan is a sort of more spindly Artful Dodger.
But he can't have teeth like that.
And you can't say, all right, babe, when he comes into the lair.
I think he could say, all right, babe. He's too tall, I think, as well, Rylan.
I think Rylan has sort of been promoted. Now he's in charge of supermarket sweep.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he's more of a Fagin character.
Okay.
Oh, no.
know,
Well, look, can
he's
we
the
just say
puppet
Rylan
master.
isn't in the running for this?
No.
Okay.
No, apparently, the fave.
A new one.
The fave is Rita Ora.
What?
Yeah, it was. It's interesting.
Can we not have anything anymore? The Artful Dodger, a woman?
Frank always calls her.
Even our criminals are being taken now by the women.
Yeah,
They're taking our Dodgers.
Women can be criminals too.
they wouldn't do it with 10 Rillington Place. Let's
Look,
face it.
there are some jobs
Yeah.
we don't want.
John Reginald Christie.
Can I just
It's,
say, women have the right.
Elkie Brooks is John Reginald Christie. Sorry, you were saying.
Women can be pickpockets too.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
going on a march this next weekend. I'll
Right.
ride to pickpocket.
This sounds like a line from John Cleese's divorce tour. Anyway, she's the fave. She's the fave.
She's going to be terrible.
Oh,
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So the lines are alight with talk of what the best-selling novel of all time is.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry if I made a mistake.
Well, Judy from West Norfolk has ploughed in and said, surely Tale of Two Cities hasn't outsold the Da Vinci Code or Harry Potter. I mean, just based on nothing.
well, it's had longer.
I think it's had longer, but also I think people
don't know
had
if
fewer choice and distraction then, which is why it
Yeah.
might be.
I don't know.
and there
Did
were
he
less-
have the
there were-
international distribution that they've got now?
There were less books as well, so less
Oh,
choice.
Dickens was very popular in America, though. I'll have you know.
But I imagine Harry Potter and the Da Vinci Code is
Yes.
global, isn't it?
Harry
as
Potter
I
and the Da
say,
Vinci Code,
Yeah.
that would be a good...
That'd be a great.
I mean, imagine if
well,
they
that's
did that.
basically a license to print money. All right?
I,
I mean, you may as well.
I was told by people that know that Stephen
The
Moffat,
Illuminati.
Stephen Moffat and J.K. Rowling actually got together and wrote a Doctor Who / Harry Potter script. And then there was all sorts of arguments about, royalties and whatever. Not between them, but like, the big companies and things. And then it was never made. But somewhere in a locked thing is that script. Word scene.
Wow.
Extraordinary.
Oh, wow.
So 821 has
yes.
said Don Quixote is the best-selling novel of all time with 500 million sales.
Really?
Tale of Two Cities is second with 200 million sales. This is
Wowee.
the book charts on Absolute Radio.
Yeah. Late
I'm
review.
genuinely interested to learn that.
Don Quixote.
Quixote.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
Who knew?
who didn't know?
A lot of
that
people speak
that person
Spanish.
did.
Yeah.
Is it Spanish?
Well, I mean, it's you know.
It's Spanish.
It's Spanish.
I played Don Quixote once in a play.
Oh, how was that?
It's all right. It was
It was no
Camino Real, the play was called. And it was at Warwick Arts Centre when I was a student.
Oh, yeah.
There's a terrible bloke in the cast who did martial arts, who I wouldn't wish him dead, but if they phoned me and said he had died, I'd be over it.
Why was he terrible?
I just, some people are terrible.
Okay.
Can't get around that.
We were talking
We were talking
about Oliver Twist.
Where's my sitar? Okay.
And he channels Ravi sometimes.
Oliver Twist.
We were talking about Oliver Twist, and I was rude, and I said I wasn't very kind about Rita Ora's proposed performance, and I'm sure she'll be great, but she'll bring. You have made a very good observation about her, Frank, which is that she belongs to a group you call the 5 items or less, I think you call it. Do you want to explain what 5 items or less
Well, I
is?
don't know enough about her to know if she's in it
Exactly.
or not, but I think it's 9 items or less.
I do apologise, it's 5.
You know when you go into the supermarket and there's 9 items or less? I'm thinking of the celebrities who you wouldn't be able to name more than 9 things that they'd done.
Right.
Yeah.
I think 5 items probably does work because, some people have had some big things, but not that.
Exactly.
Yes.
But I wouldn't be able to put her in it because I don't really know her work.
Okay.
If I was going to go lady for
Halloween?
for Dodge.
Ever?
No, I was going to say for a career move.
All right.
No, if I was going to go lady, I would go Cara Delevingne.
Lovely idea.
Nobody does urchin like Cara does, and she's got
Top
that.
hat.
You could believe that she was a Victorian. She's got that. I haven't had a meal since we mogged the butcher's boy. Look to her.
Yeah, but you know what? She's going to struggle with the old accento. I mean, go on, city yourself. I mean, she's quite posh, isn't she?
I know, but she'd do it. She's an actor. I think she'd be great, and she'd be all grubby and thin, but the startling blue eyes suggesting there was a good person in there somewhere.
And the big bushy brows. Jack Wilde, the original Dodger, had very bushy brows, I recall.
Did he? I don't remember
did.
that because I just under the top hat, everything was in shade.
What do you? I think we need to go to a break shortly,
I think we
but
do.
before we
'cause
do,
it's hurting
Ice Cube as
it's hurting my ribs. The producer's prodding them that hard with
wow,
her-
that escalated.
with her garden cane.
She's getting the cobwebs off.
Exactly. I have never.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
587. That is wrong. It's not Don Quixote. The modern novel bestseller is the Da Vinci Code, but the bestseller of all time, excluding the Bible, is, as Emily says, The Tale of Two Cities.
Oh, Emily's come back. She's slipped back.
Oh, stop it! I'll get big-headed.
It was just like China in the men's relay heats last night. They looked like they'd dropped back out of it,
Right.
then last minute burst through again.
Do you know that makes me so happy?
Well, it could still change. But,
I tell you what makes me even
interesting.
happier is Frank's suggestione of Cara Delevingne as the Artful Dodger. I think that's absolutely inspired casting.
Yeah.
Frank.
What if we actually? What if Disney actually? If it got back to Disney organisation and they said, you know what, that's not a bad call. We got her the job.
Now they are talking.
What
in,
thanks would we get? Nothing.
What percentage do we get?
Nothing.
10.
I don't want their money.
Well, I read this
did I
week
tell
you only got
Did I have some of
800 quid
them,
for
man?
3 lions.
Did I tell you?
Is this true? This is what one of the papers said. Did you know that was in the papers?
I didn't.
Okay, just so you know.
Rai Kuda, I was talking to someone who was working with Rai Kuda, and his agent said they've offered you £1 million to play at Disneyland Paris.
Oh, yeah.
And Rai Kuda said, I don't twang for the mouse. That was the end of the conversation.
Absolutely. I love that.
So,
Now, the
Just
other
bear that in
people,
mind.
we should talk about who else we think. Frank's got his casting duties out the way. So Adele is being lined up to play Nancy.
I can see that. But has she done acting?
I just came up with a bit of rogue casting,
Okay.
which was the Conservative MP Michael Fabricant.
Oh, the one with the hair.
He's got lovely blonde hair.
Yeah, I don't know
I
if
just
he's
imagined
right
him
for
singing,
that.
as long as he needs me.
Yeah.
They have to sing it in that very Cockney way.
Yeah, you have to do there's a Cockney thing which is a bit like the Doppler effect that if a car goes past you, it's got a sort of vibrato.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as they need. Oh, I'm getting married in the morning. Yeah, the Cockneys, I don't know what they go in and out of focus, the Cockneys. I don't know what's wrong with them.
Fagin.
Come on, consider yourself. Fagin.
Fagin in this version, Ice Cube is obviously being lined up.
Obviously, you say.
Yep, Ice Cube.
Is that all
Got to
right?
pick a pocket or two.
Is that all right to recast Fagin?
Well, I know there were.
That sounds they're on thin ice there, aren't they?
I believe
thin ice
Alec-
cube.
I don't know. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the original Oliver Twist, the non-musical version.
Oh
For
yes.
David Lean.
Yes.
Played by Alec Guinness.
Yes.
Alec Guinness to Ice Cube. But I think that was sort of semi-cancelled, that version, for various reasons.
Yeah.
Yes, that performance. I mean, I Ice Cube, I'm not sure what you think he'll bring to the part.
Well, I just it depends whether you're trying how close you're going to be to Oliver Twist. I mean, I'd have thought that is one of the great classic Jewish parts in all literature. So it's quite a big thing. Does this mean Mel Brooks could play Othello now?
Yeah.
8, 12, 15. No, don't.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
So we're talking about, well, we were just talking about Ice Cube as Fagin.
I think
And other things I never thought I'd say.
He'll play it all gangster and stuff.
Cube.
Like that.
Although, here's the thing about Ice Cube. He's not, I mean, I don't want to upset Dre or any of those guys.
They don't listen anymore.
I know, but I listen.
If the Cockerels are on the show, they don't even. I'm sorry, guys. It's just
I know, but just in case, maybe Eazy-E might still occasionally listen to the podcast. I'm not throwing any shade, however...
We might get Lady Sovereign if we're lucky.
Lady Soft. Who came up with the best measuring system ever in the Celebrity Big Brother house. She said, do you remember this, Frank? You pointed it out to me.
Go on.
Said, how big was it? They were talking about a portion size. And she went, I remember it. It was like a cat's paws.
Oh,
were.
yeah.
Do you remember
Cat's
that?
paw sized. I mean, brilliant.
Yeah.
Like some sort of primitive instinct she had for measuring.
It's a mighty boosh system of measuring. So obviously there's... I mean, what worries me about this is Mr. Bumble.
Right.
I just want to make sure they don't go rogue. I think Gemma Collins, I think that could be a female.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? You want more?
They said they make
More?
life
I
difficult.
can't even believe you want more. I can't even believe it, Oliver.
And then she'd have to sing. Oh, are there songs in this?
Oh, yes.
Oh, okay.
What's your favourite Oliver song?
Oh, Consider Yourself.
Oh, okay. I like Pick a Pocket or Two.
I mean, I imagine
I like to pick a pocket.
they won't be able to do, in the national obesity crisis, they won't be able to do Food Glorious Food, surely. You're going to drag the whole nation down.
Where is love?
That's a lovely song.
Are you okay?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Can I just say something what I
Pussy
don't
said
like?
to the owl.
Okay, calm down. Can I say something about Consider
Under
Yourself?
pressure.
I don't like. Yes,
Go
I
on.
am.
What?
I can tell you something I don't like. I don't know where you two stand on this, but in Consider Yourself, they do that thing where someone sings a line and the other person says it. Rex Harrison does this. Par exemple, consider yourself at home. Oh, I hate it.
I like a bit of that.
Oh, ugh.
Oh, why can't a woman be more like a man? Yeah.
Thank you.
That wasn't me talking.
That's a musical trope when someone is entering into a new world and they start to join in with the song in a tentative way.
Yeah, they sort of talk at first.
It does, Gareth.
And then they get into the song and they're part of a new era of their
The
life.
second bit,
Well,
he
Rex
says,
Harris-
consider yourself, and he says, part of the family we've taken to you so strong.
Now you're getting it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it, yeah.
Can I give a round of applause to that very fine moment on the show?
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
There was an interesting story this week about, I love a Have a Go Hero and all those guys. There was Jason Donovan this week.
Yes.
Became a heroic figure. I'm slightly you saw this?
Saw it?
Yeah.
Never to be deleted.
It's a confusing tale. Jason, there's a fire in somebody's side entrance.
We mean house.
No, but it said in their side entrance.
Okay, Frank.
And it said,
In here?
the police said, luckily, like Mr. Donovan, he said, I'll give you the actual quote. He said he noticed the fire from his property over the road.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a fire at his neighbour's house.
Yeah, the fire was at 4:30 a.m. He's still operating on Australian time.
I mean, we should say the shocker was that he ran out in his pants wielding a fire extinguisher.
Yes.
I think 2 fire extinguishers.
I do apologise
Let's hope.
for
Let's hope they
downgrading
were-
him to the one.
Yeah. Let's hope they were both.
Okay.
Okay.
He, as often happens in these stories, the sort of reps from the services were a bit of jokers going
Yeah.
on there. We had they always quip in these stories. They quipped. He said everyone needs good neighbours. It's actually
yeah.
everybody, but never
Yeah.
mind. Doesn't scan everyone. And
Everyone needs good neighbours.
And the watch manager on the scene, who I believe is sort of the sort of hose governor, said he looks
Beg your
good for
pardon.
I think that was Snoop Dogg.
We'll play that in the new
Or
Oliver.
as I call him, Daddy.
Okay.
So he called him. He said he looks good for his age.
Well, if Jason was in his pants,
Yes.
it turns out. Now, look, it's fine. Fine that it did. I mean, if I'd have been having a go in this, it would have been, I sleep in more clothes than most people go out in.
Oh, really?
So I would have been fine.
No, you wouldn't. You wear a Donald Duck single pyjama top. It would have been
Only in the
absolutely
summer.
gross.
Only in the summer. I just wear a pyjama jacket. You can't. It would have been a picture of me in the paper fighting fire in just a pyjama jacket.
Bare bottom. It would have been the worst moment / best.
Look,
of my life.
all this would be fine, and I'd be admiring of him. Although it does say modest Jason played down his act of heroism. Yeah, but he did put a picture of himself doing it on Twitter. I think.
Oh.
Which is a very odd picture because there's people just standing around in it.
It looks like there's loads of people.
Yeah, it looks like there's loads of people there, and he's just streaking through in his pants. Everyone else is fully dressed.
Look,
Why is he
Everyone
the
else has
only
managed to
one?
put clothes on.
Also, everybody's got good clothes by the door. A robe. Okay, I put on
A coat.
a dirty old black T-shirt the other day.
look, all I would say is this: is that he has just announced a new tour.
Oh, that's convenient.
If I was the police, I might have a look in his garden shed to see if there's any petrol cans. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think he's in Joseph, isn't he? Put the coat on, mate.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
The
Can I
Technicolor
just
dream
say,
coat on.
we-
Cover yourself up.
Excuse me.
Hmm?
Frank and I went to see his Pharaoh.
Oh, yeah, he
and
plays. He's not Joseph anymore.
No.
Time is cruel.
You say that. Ripped.
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely ripped. It's all right when we say it.
Did you think he was ripped?
He looked pretty good. Come on.
Okay, fair enough.
After
Really?
what he's been through.
You want to go up against Jado?
No, he was.
I mean, you look fabulous, Frank. You've got a lovely
Yeah,
pair
he
of
is.
legs.
He's one of the best kept arsonists. I think in
And
popular
relax.
culture.
And
Hello, ladies and
relax,
gentlemen.
everybody.
So what's going on this week? Cheltenham Book Festival, Emily?
Yes.
Interviewed by David Baddiel.
What is that Thursday night?
Thursday at 8:30.
Okay.
You can please come and see us. My dog's coming.
Oh, I loved your book, Em.
Okay.
I did the audiobook, weeping on the motorway.
You did the
Very
audio book.
dangerous.
Well,
no,
so
I didn't.
will
I
David
mean, I
Baddiel
listened
be on
to it.
Thursday night when I finished with him.
Well, I can't go because I shall be playing the G Centre in Guildford on my current tour.
Oh, you on
Are
tour?
you?
I am.
Can you please remember to put pyjama bottoms on? I
okay,
worry about
I
you.
will.
Gareth, where will you be this Thursday?
I'd like to do a show in pyjamas. Like, do you remember? Was he called Freddie Fingers or something that was in the Boomtown Rats who always wore pyjamas?
yes.
Oh, really?
What are you up to then,
Oh,
Gareth?
Gareth, you're
I'm
at
in
the King's Head.
Weymouth tonight, downstairs at King's Head next Saturday.
Okay, I'll be
There
there.
you
For
go.
Come and
the
see
London
me.
listeners.
The King's Head is in, it's in Crouch End in
Crouch
London.
End, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I like this section. It's quite one show. I
is.
enjoy it.
It is. So that's got the blogs on. Oh, and thank you for listening to us. Gareth, thanks for coming in this week.
love
It's been a
you.
pleasure.
It's
Thank
always,
you for having me.
It's always a joy to see you. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.